Wife fantasies and husband's fantasies about cheating. You'd think that the longer you live with a person, the better you understand them. That may be true for others, but it certainly wasn't true for me. Janice and I had been married for 11 years, and those were pretty good years. We got along with each other, and a lot of the things we did without discussion because we knew each other well enough to realize what the other was willing to do. Janice and I married late, later than others in our age group anyway, and so we had the opportunity to see how the marriages of our contemporaries worked out. They all had one thing in common. They were used to each other and took each other for granted. From casual conversations with friends, Janice and I learned that sexuality was the problem in many marriages. They went from daily sex on their honeymoon to twice a week or even more after a few years. Janice and I promised each other that we would not let that happen to us. Janice and I had a pretty good sex life, and we had been doing it since our 5th date. We met, and by unspoken agreement, we never talked about previous partners, only what we did, what we liked and didn't like. There were things that one or the other of us didn't do, and we tried them. Some we liked and some we didn't. But in the end, we had an active and very enjoyable sex life. After about 5 years of our marriage, we felt the need to diversify things a bit, and after discussing it, we decided to play what we called the Phantom game. It consisted of spaced 2 months apart, and Janice and I would alternate. On the first Monday of the 2-month block, Janice would tell me about her fantasy, and for the next 2 months we would incorporate that fantasy into our lovemaking sessions. At the end of the 2-month period, it was my turn to tell Janice's fantasy. We didn't act it out every time we made love, but it was a kind of theme that we could use and work with. The fantasy could be anything as long as it wasn't painful. Light bondage, water sports, role-playing were just a few of the things we did. Some fantasies were better than others, and they were repeated from time to time. More often than not, Janice repeated black lovers. When it was Janice's choice month and she chose the black scenario, the night might go something like this. I would come home from work and find Janice there waiting for me, looking as affectious as possible, wearing a low-cut blouse, a short skirt, and the highest-heeled shoes. "I want to go out tonight." "Where do you want to go?" "I don't care. Some rundown bar, just get me out of the house." I'd drive to one of the many bars in our town and drop her off at the front door, and then I'd leave and kill half an hour driving around the neighborhood, getting gas or whatever, and then go back to the bar. I'd go inside, sit down at the bar, look around until I saw where Janice was sitting, and then sit down and wait. Man after man would come up to her and ask if they could join her, but she always said no. But she would say yes to anyone who asked her to dance. Janice dressed to look like a cheater and acted the same way when a guy asked her to the dance floor. She never complained or fought off guys who played with her ass, grabbed her breasts, or ran their hand inside her skirt trying to get their fingers to her body. Several times I saw her on the dance floor between 2 guys, one rubbing her ass from behind and the guy in front rubbing her leg and French kissing her. It was dirty dancing at its best, but Janice never, ever let anyone sit at her table. I sat at the bar, sipping my beer and watching until I felt the time was right, and then I got up, walked over to her table and sat down. "I don't think I invited you to join me." "Yes, you did, sweetie. But you didn't do it with words, you did it with your actions." "What do you mean?" "I mean you waited for me, baby. You go out on the dance floor and dry hump all those white boys, seduce all those white boys, do everything but what you're not allowed to do, but never let them sit down and join you. That means you're waiting for someone special. And here I am. I'm sorry, but you're not my type." "What you really mean is that I'm black. What are you, a racist?" "No, I mean you're just not what I'm looking for." "Of course I have a sweet tooth. You said I wasn't your type, but I am. Your type is someone with a big dignity and a magic tongue. You're arrogant, and I don't like that in a man. I've been watching you, and I've realized what you need. You need someone to take charge, and that's exactly what I'm going to do." I would then get up, take her hand, and lift her out of her chair. "Come on, sweetie, I'll show you what you need." and dragging her along, I would head out to the parking lot. The dialogue wasn't always the same, but the result was always the same. I'd pull Janice behind me and she'd try to pull away from me and beg me to let her go. I would open the driver's side door and push her into the car and follow her in. As I unzipped my fly, she would call me an asshole and other names and ask me to let her out of the car. Then, holding her, I would start the car and head towards home. When we got home, I pulled her out of the car and led her into the house, and she tried to pull away. "You can't do that. Let me go." "I'll let you go, white girl, as soon as I have sex with you. My husband will miss me. He'll call the police and they'll come looking for me." If your husband was worth it, you wouldn't be acting like a cheater at the bar. By this time, I was bringing her into the house, picking her up, carrying her into the bedroom, and throwing her on the bed. "You can't do this to me. You're too big. You'll hurt me. Come on, please stop. Don't do this to me. I'm a married woman, and I've never cheated on my husband." "You'll still be a married woman when I'm done with you, but you'll probably never be satisfied with your husband when I'm done with you." Eventually, when we were done, we fell asleep in each other's arms. The second part of the fantasy took place a day or two later when I had regained a bit of energy. I would call home from the office, and when Janice answered, I would say something like, "So how was my little white cheating black man loving little white cheater today? Miss you, baby. I'm going with my friends to have fun." "You can't come, lover. My husband is home. Get rid of him. Send him out for a loaf of bread or something. I'm on my way. And if he's still there when I get there, he'll see me and my friends having sex with you." When I got home, I asked, "Is that wimpy guy here?" I told him he needed to leave for a couple hours, and when he didn't want to leave, I told him that if he wanted to make love to me again, he had better leave and not come for at least 3 hours. I told him that if there were still cars in the driveway when he got home, he better not come in until they were all gone. "Who are your friends?" I'd introduce her to the imaginary 3 guys, and then we'd head to the bedroom. I hated this part of the fantasy because Janice almost killed me. Try playing the part of 4 men when, as soon as you finish having sex, the woman yells, "Next! Somebody hurry up! It was sex until I couldn't again, and then repetition over and over until I just didn't have the strength." Before I fell into an exhausted sleep, Janice would say, "Maybe next time you can bring a few more friends." I never understood why this particular fantasy excited Janice so much. I guessed it had something to do with the fact that she was from the South, and it was a taboo between blacks and whites. I never figured it out, but she had used the fantasy so often over the years that I realized she really wanted to do it, but was afraid to mention it to me for one reason or another. I began to think that perhaps I should make it happen for her. First, I had to convince myself that I could handle it if it happened. None of my fantasies involved seeing Janice with other men or having sex with her after she got home. It took some effort for me to convince myself that I was confident enough in my masculinity that I could handle seeing Janice with someone else. Then I thought, if I'm going to go for it, I'm going for it full force. I decided to fulfill all of Janice's fantasies on her birthday: black lovers and lots of sex. It just so happened that Janice's birthday fell 2 months later, and to set things up, I came up with a new fantasy. We were at a party and got too drunk to drive home. The hosts offered to let us spend the night in their spare bedroom. During the night, I got up to go to the bathroom, and when I came back, I mistakenly went into the wrong bedroom, got into bed, and had sex with who I thought was my wife. In one fantasy, it was the master's daughter. In another, it was his sister, mother, or mother-in-law. Once it was his wife, because he worked until midnight and had to leave a party to go to work. Then I would change things up a bit. I'd pass out drunk on the couch, and Janice would stay in the spare bedroom. Someone would come into the room and climb into bed with her, and she would think it was me and make love to me. But it was the master, his father, son, or brother. I would go into a dark room, make love to Janice a couple times, and then she would turn on the light and be shocked to find out who it was. The outcome of this scenario was the dark room I'd come to. I realized this fantasy 2 or 3 times a week during my block to get Janice used to it. I had our bedroom set up so that there were no lights in it at night and nothing could be seen. Then I got busy recruiting other players. At work, I was pretty good friends with a black guy. We ate lunch together a few times a week and came over for a beer after work. We talked about sports, work, and just about everything in the world. Dave was a ladies' man, and several times when we stopped, some cute little brown sugar thing would come up to the bar to talk to him. Dave was always trying to set me up with one of them. "You need to change your luck, kid. Honestly, it's not canceled." "Thanks, but don't, Dave. I've got more than I can handle at home as it is." "Well, if you ever need any help, be sure to give old Dave a call. There's nothing, absolutely nothing, I like better than a white girl." Remembering that conversation, I decided to talk to Dave. I asked him if he had any experience with white Southern girls, and he said he'd had a few. I told him about Janice's recurring fantasies and asked him what he thought about it. "Hey, it's simple. Most of the time, a real fantasy, not one made up for fun, is something you really want to do. I think she grew up hearing about how good girls stay away from niggers. She secretly wants to find out exactly what it is about them that she should stay away from. It's that old taboo about black men and white women. Why? Well, I want to give Janice her fantasy for her birthday, and I remember you once told me that if I ever needed help, I could turn to you. I need someone I can trust, Dave. I need someone who can keep secrets and also give Janice pleasure. You can count on me for both. Sir, do you have a few friends you can trust who might be interested? Are you kidding? For the sake of a first-class white girl? Yeah, I could have 50 guys over in the next 10 minutes. Wow, maybe 3 or 4, okay? I can do that, buddy. Just tell me the time and place, and me and the guys will take it from there. Janice's birthday fell on a weeknight, so our plans to celebrate were put on hold until the weekend. On her birthday, I called her from work and told her we were going to a coworker's party. That was her cue that it was going to be a fantasy night, and she would be naked on the bed in the darkened bedroom as soon as she heard the sound of the garage door opening. That evening, Dave and 4 of his friends followed me home, and then the 6 of us quietly entered the house. The plan was for Dave and 2 of his friends to go into the bedroom, and then Dave was to have sex with Janice, while the other guys stood quietly by, and then I would turn on the lights and yell, "Surprise! Happy birthday, my love!" It went like that. When I turned on the lights, Janice was having sex with Dave while his buddy waited his turn. I heard her say all the things she said as we played out our fantasies, and I even heard her say some things I had never heard her say before, like, "I'll never be satisfied by my husband again," and oh God, I never knew what I was missing. When they were done and dressed to go, she kissed them all and thanked them for the best birthday of her life. I walked the guys to the door and thanked Dave for helping make Janice's fantasy come true. If she wants to do it again, you know where to find me. And I don't mind telling you, buddy, it wouldn't break my heart if she wanted to do it again tomorrow. I walked back into the bedroom with a wide smile on my face. Janice was waiting for me, and when I walked through the bedroom door, she hit me. She hit me hard, and I fell to my knees. "You asshole! You pathetic, rotten asshole! How could you do this to me? All I did was give you an excuse to fantasize." "It was a fantasy, you stupid asshole. Do you really think that if I really wanted to have sex with a bunch of Negroes, I couldn't go and do it? You'd know I really didn't want it if you talked to me and told me what you were going to do. I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to give you something special. How could I surprise you if I had talked it over beforehand? And if you had a brain in your stupid head, you'd know better. In 16 years, have I ever once suggested we invite a third party for our fun and games? How many times have you watched me let some asshole put his fingers up my skirt on the dance floor? Have I ever offered to bring him home or take him to the parking lot? For God's sake, what we do is fantasy. It doesn't have to be real." "Baby, I watched. You loved every minute of it." "Of course I liked it, you idiot. I didn't know it wasn't you until I started to realize there was more than one man with me. When you turned on the lights, I was already horny. But that doesn't mean I was happy about having sex with Negroes. But baby. Don't but baby me, you asshole. Grab a pillow and a blanket and get out of my sight. You disgust me so much right now, it's all I can do to keep from grabbing a chair and beating you unconscious with it. For the rest of the week, I slept on the couch, and Janice didn't even talk to me. She would make dinner when I got home from work, and in the morning she would get up and make me breakfast before I left for work. A few times I tried to strike up a conversation, but all I got from her was, "Just shut up. We have nothing to say to each other." And that evening, I came home from work and found a note on the kitchen table. "Your dinner is in the microwave. I'm meeting Dave and his friends for drinks. Don't bother waiting." The end! Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.